Life in space. Weightless living. You wake up just as the sun is rising. It takes a moment to untangle from the sleeping bag in the small space. Opening the door, you grab a handle and flip yourself over. With a gentle push, you fly from one end of the room to the other. Another crew member floats by, hands you some coffee, and says good morning in Russian. You thank him and yawn, tired because you haven't slept much. Your stomach isn't used to the lack of gravity yet, and you are incredibly excited. You're about to begin your first day working on the International Space Station. Even simple activities are difficult without gravity. It's almost as if you had to learn them all over again. You won't head back to Earth for another 6 months, so you may as well get started. The race to space. People began racing into space in the 1950s and the 1960s. The first person in space was cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin from Russia, then part of the Soviet Union. He orbited Earth one time and landed safely after 108 minutes on April 12, 1961. On 1968, U.S. astronauts on Apollo 8 successfully orbited the Moon. On July 26, 1969, the crew of Apollo 11 stepped onto the Moon's surface. Space programs created vehicles that let people stay in space for days or weeks. However, scientists were building a structure in which people could actually live for months or years. The Soviet Union launched the first space station in 1971. It spent 175 days in space. In 1973, the United States launched Skylab. It supported 3 missions before being abandoned in 1974. The Soviet Union launched the Mir space station in 1986. It was the first space station that lasted more than a few years. Mir remained in orbit for 15 years, 3 times longer than planned. Scientists from many different countries visited it. Before Mir was abandoned, work began on a new, larger space station. The United States, Russia, Japan, Canada, and other countries worked together. In 1998, the first section of the International Space Station was launched into orbit. More sections have been added over the years, and more are planned for the future. As of 2012, the ISS was as long as a football field and weighed almost 1 million pounds, 453,592.3 kilograms. Over the years, more than 240 people from 19 countries have visited the station. Many astronauts stayed for the ISS for about 3 to 6 months. Staying on the space station can be very difficult. Scientists have found ways to make it easier for astronauts to live in space. An astronaut's life. Astronauts go to school for many years before they begin training. The physical training involves being weightless while flying in an airplane. Astronauts also spend up to 7 hours in a spacesuit while working underwater. They work on models of space vehicles in a huge pool. Sleeping. The ISS has 6 small sleep pods that each hold a sleeping bag with armholes. Each bag is tied to the wall to keep the astronaut from floating away. Because of the space station's orbit, astronauts who on board see 16 sunrises and sunsets every day. Since people are used to sleeping at night and being awake during the day, this can cause sleep problems. The space station has a shade-down period. During this time, it is dark and quiet to allow the astronauts to get the sleep they need. Astronauts eat many of the foods most people enjoy, such as chicken, fruit, peanut butter, and brownies. The ISS has no refrigerator, so our food has to be packed so it won't spoil. The station does have an oven, however. Some food can be eaten as it is. Other foods, such as spaghetti, must have water added. Astronauts use liquid salt and pepper. Regular salt and pepper will float away and damage the space station equipment. Once the food is prepared, however, astronauts still have to get used to swallowing. Astronaut Bruce Sellers said it was like eating while lying on one side. Using the toilet. Using the bathroom can be tricky. Astronauts need special training to use the toilet. The toilet on the ISS has 2 parts. For liquid waste, astronauts use a tube with a nozzle. For solid waste, astronauts must use foot straps and handles to stay in place. The toilet takes the waste from the opening or tube to where it is stored. Bathing and teeth cleaning. Astronauts use water on a cloth to wash their bodies. They wash their hair with shampoo without using water. To clean their teeth, they use toothpaste that can be swallowed when they're finished. Free time. Astronauts on the ISS may play cards, read, or write, among other things. Talking with loved ones is also important. Astronauts are able to make calls and use video chats. Sometimes astronauts answer questions from students all over the world. I get video tours of the station. Many just look out the windows or take photos. Who can blame them? The view is pretty amazing. Exercising. When people exercise on Earth, their bones and muscles must work against gravity, which makes them stronger. The lack of gravity in space makes it very easy to move things. Because of this ease, astronauts' bones and muscles weaken over time. Astronauts must exercise at least 2 hours every day. Even with a daily workout, their bones and muscles are weaker when they return to Earth. Back to Earth. When astronauts return to Earth, the work isn't over. After a 6-month stay on the ISS, it takes 6 weeks of exercise to regain their strength. It can take a whole year for an astronaut's bones to fully recover. Astronauts have to work hard, but the time spent living and working in space is worth it. Scientists always keep track about the astronaut's physical and mental health. The information they gather has already helped astronauts live healthier and happier lives. This information might mean the success or failure of future space travel.